Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Tuesday. That means we'll have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show here just momentarily. If you missed it last night, Gators lose in a long rain delay. They were up. The rain delay obviously hurt them. And season's over. Oklahoma moves on. 5 SEC teams still alive in the Super Regionals. And so the season comes to an end. We could talk Gator baseball. Obviously, recruiting is heating up for Gator football. Pretty much, all the sports are done now. So we can focus on getting ready for the Utah Utes rolling into town. If you missed it last night, too, boy, what a day in Oklahoma City. UCLA beats Oklahoma in game 1. Then OU just destroys them in game 2 to move to the championship series. And then in a big upset, Texas, an unranked team going into the tournament, is now beats Oklahoma State twice, comes from behind in game 2. They were down 5-0. They win 6-5. So you get the Red River rivalry for the national title. Texas has beaten Oklahoma once this year. I see the Sooners rolling to the national championship, but crazier things have happened. Hockey is over in the West. The Avalanche move on to the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. The Tampa Bay Lightning will try to tie up the series against the Rangers. We're still trying to get connected to Buddy. Evan, I think we got Buddy coming in right now. I want to get your thoughts, too, of our golf fans out there about the LIV Tour. So it's an interesting deal. I don't know what to make of that. Dan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mental Health, that's why it's crucial for Florida to beat Oklahoma State in that game in OKC. Look, I love the Gators, but for us to be in OKC, it was a miracle, quite honestly. Do we have Buddy Martin on the Titan MR hotline? Buddy, can you hear us? Buddy's gone again. Okay, Buddy's having issues, technical issues for good old Buddy Martin. I got a text here on the Titan MR text line from Joseph. He says, "Hey, Shane, have you heard or know who they are going to hire to replace Mick Hubert?" I can't tell you how many times I get asked that during the week. No, I do not. We're actually going to have Mike Morgan on tomorrow. Mike Morgan is a former Gator, works for the SEC Network and ESPN, calls all sports. Just called the regional, I believe, at Georgia Southern. I want to say his name is in the hat. He does a good job. He's a couple of years younger than me, I believe. So they got to get somebody, that can be here for 20 plus years as the voice of the Gators. So we'll talk to Mike Morgan tomorrow, get his thoughts on college baseball moving forward, what teams he thinks will make it to Omaha. Buddy, good morning. You there?
I guess I'm all in blue this morning. I don't know.
That's okay. You look good, buddy.
Yeah, that was great. I don't know what's going on. Well, me with technology this week, it's been my week. So, but I guess we'll go with this morning and see what we can do afterwards. Good morning to you,
buddy. Let's first start. Last night I was on your program, and we go on the air. The Gators were up when the game resumes. Didn't go so well. Give Oklahoma credit, but the season has come to an end for Kevin O'Sullivan and the Gator baseball team. Just your thoughts.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts. Woke up this morning thinking about it. First of all, it's a major disappointment, and there's no skating it. You have to own it, and they didn't get it done in the end. But in sports, Shane, you know this. Although the HBC always says it's all about winning, and I grant you that's it. I heard someone, I think it might have been Saban, say the other day, you can't always focus on the outcome. I mean, is that all that matters? Yes, there's no question about it. Winning is what it's about. But if you want to measure other things, and I thought about heroes this morning, I'm going to write about them. I don't want to get too deep and be too philosophical, although I am in blue today, so you never know. Bottom line is that this team gave all it had. And the scene last night, as described by friends, as we were on after you were, on the mound where Brandon Sproat came out and kneeled down after the ballpark was empty, kind of said it all. And it's such a profound sadness and a terrible feeling of defeat when you put it all out there, as they did, every ounce they had, and yet somehow came up short. But it is the essence of sports, the joy of winning and the agony of defeat, as they used to say on the wide world of sports. Yes, I guess we can criticize Sully. Maybe he stayed with Slater too long. We didn't get to see it because of the whole technology thing, but we heard it. And France had an eyewitness report and actually showed him on the mound living down. And his teammates, Harnett Barco, came out to see him and what have you. How do you measure a season like that? Do you measure it by effort and heart and overcoming the difficulties you had when you knew you didn't have really the personnel when Hunter Barco went down? Do you measure by the fact they didn't get to Omaha again? They've been down, knocked out by an unseeded team in the regional. Do you measure by what we saw with a young pitcher, Carson Fenwell, who was a true hero? I don't care what you say about everything else. He may never pitch another pitch. He made his name because why? He had a heroic performance in a game that will always be etched in our memories as something unique. So that's my take on it. It was a great amount of joy, frustration, anxiety. I've never watched so much baseball game as I did for the last 4 or 5 days. I've never had so many technical problems. But you know what? We're here on a Tuesday morning on Shane Matthews, Pot Up with Shane Matthews. We're talking about it, and that's what we do.
Yeah, my thoughts are, I don't know if it's a disappointment the way they ended. I personally don't think this team was as good as people thought they were, just watching them. And a lot of that had to do with pitching. Look, only one team is going to be happy when the season's over. Virginia Tech's a very good baseball team. I don't know if Oklahoma can beat them. I feel bad for the Slater kid, but we could have scored more runs earlier in the game as well. So, you can't just put it all on pitching because it's a team effort. And, I think to what they did, actually, I was surprised that they got as far as they did, quite honestly. When you do lose Hunter Barco, that killed you. I just think it'll be interesting to see what Sully and his staff do going forward. Do they look and try to get more transfers, like Roapel, those kind of guys? Go find some older arms. Do you go try to find or give Carson Fenwell an opportunity to get in the rotation next year, even though he can't throw 80 miles an hour? It doesn't matter. So anyway, it was disappointing, obviously.
Yeah, on all those points, if I can, before I forget them this morning, since I'm looking so good in blue. The transfer portal has to be the way you go. The maturity, you're right. They needed it. The bats at time, they were not there, and so on. He's a player or two short. And I know Sully will go get something in the transfer portal. But I'm going to tell you what, I watched a lot of different baseball, and you did too, Shane, throughout the whole regional. There's some good teams out there, and there were some unbelievable scores. I mean, I don't know. This whole thing with
ball's juiced. Ball is juiced, I'm convinced.
Well, no doubt about that. And then you can't have baseball games being the football scores, 21-7 and all that. And there weren't done just 1 or 2. There were lots of them. So that's got to be fixed. But focusing right now on where we are, I don't think there's any way Sully goes to Clemson. That's my idea. Why would he? He's got everything here he wants. He's got a great contract. He's got a great ballpark. He's got a good recruiting. And I think Florida didn't hurt itself in recruiting. So, and they got as France points out, by the way, in a really good article he wrote about this is a talented team. There's a lot of great looking arms coming back. Could they use one stopper? Sure. Could they use a couple of bats? Sure. But he can build on this. And if he does, I think Florida baseball is going to be really good the next few years.
Well, I think Florida's always going to be in the hunt. And as you said, the big talk, I guess, in the next few weeks over the summer will be about Clemson coming after Sully. And you're right. I mean, people ask, why would you leave Florida? Well, buddy, I mean, why did Coach Spurrier leave Florida? I mean, why did Bob Stoops hang it up? You know, sometimes these coaches say after X amount of years, it's time to move on to a different challenge.
And they don't feel appreciated. I mean,
Right.
In the end, Coach Spurrier, no matter what he says, part of it was he got to a point where he just felt like he was, what he did wasn't appreciated.
Correct.
And he's probably right. Gator fans were entitled. They look what he done. And looking back on it, how could you ever done better in 12 years than what he did? And fans have to understand their part in this. While I love their passion, and they have every right to criticize this morning. This is what happens when you're in the arena, Shane. You get criticized when you lose. And hopefully that criticism also, Terry Bradshaw told me that's what drove him, was a criticism. So take that criticism and use it. But be careful, because there's a fine line in there, Shane. Things can go away. And coaches can go away. You can drive them out when you get to a point. I can understand Billy Donovan. He was there forever. He goes. Urban, he was sort of self-imploded in a way. Spurrier says now he wished he wouldn't have gone, although he had a great run in South Carolina. So remember the fans' part of this. It's a partnership. Criticize, be angry, whatever you want to do, but keep in mind it's a partnership with the fans, and they have part of that responsibility.
Yep. Tony asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon Law, what is Buddy's hat supposed to be? That hat is from a company. I can't think of the name of it right now, but they have hats for all the college towns. They have like Athens and Oxford, and they have an LA one. They got Texas. They got all these different hats. Do you remember the name of it? It's like
this is a
Residency. Residency is the name of the company.
D. Webb's company does this. I bought this from him. This is a Gator Collective hat. This is what this is.
I'm not 100% sure if it's Gator Collective. Because,
I bought it from Gator Collective.
Okay, because it's a company called Residency that does all these college towns,
right,
with a kind of a cool logo on the front.
Shane, so, you would know. I mean,
they actually called me about doing some stuff with them, but maybe part of the Gator Collective is selling these, but it's a company called Residency.
Okay, well, I need to put this on. We're doing all blue. This is one you made, right?
That's we know what the Gator baby is, Jason.
Hold on, I'm gonna put it on right now, so make sure I get it. All right, since we're all blue today anyway. So
yep, we got a couple of Facebook Lives brought to you by Melon Law. Dan says, with all the top recruits, hopefully UF can get like Tennessee and have the depth that UT has. Turn it around quick. Yeah. Dan says Auburn scored 40 in 2 baseball games. That's crazy. David says James Bates has a talk in Panama City this Friday with the Panhandle Gator Club. All are welcome. 530. Oh, he's telling it. It's at the Baptist Church. Tickets are available. All right. If you want to go hear Batesy talk, which will be interesting, you can get some tickets there in Panama City. A couple of texts here, buddy, for us on the Titan MR text line. This is an anonymous text. He says, how many freshmen were in the starting lineup? We're a young team, right? Well, right fielder's a freshman. That's the only freshman that is actually in the starting lineup. Now, there's a ton of freshman pitchers, but for the guys in the field, the 8 starting field players, just our right fielder, actually, and then our DH, Jack Castiglione, who is a masterful hitter. He is a freshman. So, in baseball, you never know because guys can leave. I'm not sure how many of our guys are draft eligible. Another text here from Daryl on the Titan MR text line. Good morning, guys. I thought this was one of Sully's best coaching jobs to get us to where we were at. At one point, we were on the verge of not making the SEC tournament. I was worried about the rain delay yesterday. I agree, Daryl. I mean, buddy, a month ago, can you hear me, buddy? Are you there? I don't know what buddy's doing. But anyway, a month and a half ago, we didn't even know if the Gators were going to make it to Hoover, and they did. So was it disappointing? Yes, but it was also a pretty good year to get to where they were. We just lost Buddy again. Buddy, I don't know why Buddy is fidgeting with all he's fine being in blue. So we'll try to get Buddy back. Evan, text Buddy and just tell him he's going to be in blue and we don't give a damn. John says, Feinbaum's show was debating whether or not Brian Kelly was a top 5 coach or not. Curious your thoughts and who are your top 5 coaches? That's a great question, John. Look, Brian Kelly is a strange bird. I've never been a big fan of his, but his record, you can't argue. I mean, he won. I can't remember what school it was. It was one of those Division II. He won a national title there. He went to Cincinnati, turned that program around. Obviously, did well at Notre Dame. We'll see what he does at LSU. I wouldn't even say he's a top 5 coach in my opinion. I'll have to get back to you on that one, John. The top 5 coaches. I mean, obviously, you got Saban. Is one. So we got 4 more to go. But let me think about that one. Buddy, are you back?
I'm back. Yeah, I'm trying to get some coaching on my problem here. I'm going to leave it alone.
We're not worried about. Hey, you look good in blue, buddy.
Well, just put me. Yeah, I need to have half of an orange though. I think you were talking about the top 5 coaches, and I heard.
Well, John asked the top 5 coaches. Who would be your top 5
in all of football or the SEC?
I think he's talking about in football.
In college football, period.
Mm-hmm.
All right, give me a minute, okay, on that, because I heard this call yesterday. Someone called and said that Brian Kelly.
That's what our Facebook listener was saying. He saw it on Feinbaum's show.
Right. Okay, I heard that. Yeah, and what was funny about that call was that Feinbaum asked him. He said the first 2 are pretty easy, right? We don't know. We don't have to worry about Smart and Saban, obviously. Saban being number 1, and Jimbo maybe 3rd. And somebody said, "Well, there's 3 other coaches better." And Feinbaum said, "Who?" I think I'm getting this right. Yeah, and he mentioned, I think, 1. Then he said, "And who's the 5th?" And he said, "That guy in Florida." He said, "Well, you have to be able to name him to say he's one of the top 5 coaches in the SEC." That was the point. So, I mean, I could probably make up something here. I'm not going to go Stoops, although a lot of people like him. Obviously, Saban.
Talking about Bob Stoops?
No. Stoops.
Mark Stoops?
Mark Stoops. Yeah.
Are you? So you're basically. This was about just the SEC then, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was the SEC.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say Kiffin would be in my top 5.
If we're talking SEC only,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. SEC.
Even though Brian Kelly hasn't coached a game,
you gonna put it in there yet? Okay,
I'm putting him in there just because I think he's a really good football coach. I don't care for him, but I do. I mean, he's won at every level he's been at.
Yeah.
Andy asked here, buddy, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Buddy, lots of talk about Utah and the Kentucky football games, but don't you think Week 4 at Tennessee will be just as tough?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance Florida could lose that game. But again, if what I'm hearing and reading and hearing people talk about them, I just don't know how good Florida is yet. And I'm assessing that very cautiously and carefully. But I really, really like what Billy's done. We talked about this on the show before.
It's amazing what he's done.
You're like me. You almost don't want to go all in right just yet. You know what I'm saying? You want to wait and see.
Well, I'm all in for Billy Napier and hear what he's done, and I'm all in saying it's going to take at least 3 years to get the roster to be extremely competitive. That's my thought on that.
Well, you're kind of saying the same thing I'm saying about don't always focus on the outcome. Sometimes you focus on on what you accomplish. And I wrote this down this morning. It's about the struggle, isn't it? I mean, isn't that what makes it so sweet? Shane, there'll never be a sweeter season than 1990 because you guys showed up. And like I said, what are heroes? Usually they show up unexpectedly and they outperform your expectations. And they have something about them that this is a mission for them. You guys had all that in 1990, and so this is what makes sports so great. You never know when that Carson Finwell may show up in a moment that you want to treasure forever. So I don't know yet about Billy Napier. I got a good feeling about Billy Napier. Like you say, he's short a few players. He may take him a couple of years. I think the achievement overall is, I think it's going to be a guy that you build on and he stays here, and hopefully Alabama doesn't call in 3 years, or whatever. I believe he could be a lifer here, maybe, don't you?
Possibly, but it just depends on
Seeing how things change.
if the next level comes calling and you got to deal with transfer portal, NIL, and all that nonsense. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Speaking with Buddy on the Titan MR hotline. You can listen to Buddy Monday through Thursday nights on Facebook Live about 9 p.m.
Am I blue? Am I
That's right.
blue?
Scott says the 1990 team is the most important team in UF history.
Well, maybe.
I don't.
Maybe.
It could be. I will tell you this, and Coach Spurrier would agree with me. The most important football game in the history of Florida football was in 1990. You know which one it was, buddy?
Most important game to say it again?
How am I trying to phrase this? The biggest game or the most important one that changed the outlook of a program was in 1990.
Oklahoma State?
No, the next week at Alabama.
Oh, yeah. That's where the quote came out was, we played like Alabama, and someone wrote that Florida played like Alabama. And
yes.
I knew that was a big because they go to.
The reason I say that is because, and I don't know the whole history of Florida football. Obviously, I've learned it over the years. They've had some really good teams. Obviously, the 84, 85, those teams. But the narrative of Florida football was they can't win championships because they can't win games on the road. Mm. And so, Coach, I'm pretty sure Coach agrees with me on this. By winning at Alabama, a place with all the great tradition, championships, and history, and all that, to win there, we didn't play great, but we found a way to win the football game. That changed the outlook of everything, and I firmly believe that.
Well, it's a good point. You would know that, and I think that's why that was the key. No doubt about it. Again, I think you showed up and you outperformed expectations. But Shane, the biggest thing for Gator fans before you got here was the old "wait till next year" cry, and you don't know how sick and tired Gator fans got to that. I mean, that goes back as long as I can remember. It's always like the expectations were never met, and to have a team show up there and win that game. Now, the last time I saw it happen was 1963. When they went up there and beat them in Tuscaloosa in that famous 10-6 game. I was at that game. Bear Bryant, I think it was the first game he lost at that stadium, which was might be the greatest. It was the greatest upset in the history of Florida football for have a team like that show up. Hell, I almost lost to Richmond the week before, and they go up there and beat Bear Bryant. And they had a guy named Namath playing quarterback, by the way, who got hurt. So yeah. There's no doubt about it. Well, anytime you beat Alabama, period, and when you beat them on the road in their place, it's a huge win. You could be right.
Here's the point I'm trying to make with that is if we beat Alabama week 2, and then we lose the rest of the games, that game means absolutely nothing.
That's true.
But it changed how I firmly believe it changed how people perceive the Florida football program because you had a new coach here who coached with swagger. It just changed everything. Yeah. Let's see here. Facebook Live brought to you by Melvin Law. If I can get this thing moving. Not
Shane,
sure.
When you come back, Shane, it's your show. I'm not trying to take it over, but I want to talk about the LIV when we can at some point.
Yes, no, we're going to do that in just a second. I'm going to answer John's Facebook Live brought to you by Melvin Law.
All right.
He says, how would the SEC championship game have changed if Florida would have won in 92? Most people say Alabama needed to win that game in the SEC championship to be successful. John, that's why they the first ever 30 for 30 that ESPN ever did was on that game. The name of the 30 for 30 or documentary, whatever it's called, was the play that changed college football.
Yeah, and you were involved in it.
The interception that I threw. Mm-hmm. So if we win that game, that would have been the first and last championship game for college football.
Yeah.
Because Alabama did not want to play us. None of the buddy, you can go back to 92 media days. None of the coaches wanted this championship game because you had to play that extra game and it may cost you a chance to play for the national title. And I'll be damned if it almost didn't cost Alabama.
Well, you're downplaying your role in that. and you were
right. Well, I had a huge role in it, and that's why I should get royalties from every championship game across the board.
I'm for you. I'll give you $1.
Don't you think, buddy?
Let's
because
start.
If I don't throw that interception, we drop down and win the game.
There you go.
There are no more championship games, and Roy Kramer is getting just stoned.
You know what? You're right. And let's start the Shane Collective. I'll give $1. Okay.
Yes. I need royalties from the Pac-12 championship game, the Big 12, SEC, all of them.
Let's talk about that pass for a second. You know, and because Coach Spurrier has said this, you've never really embraced it, but the receiver ran the wrong route. Okay.
Well, let's back up. Look, Jack Jackson tweaked his hamstring. Monty Duncan came in, and a great passing team, and we were very anal about it. Coach Spurrier, it's all about your depth, your timing, your depth of your routes. If you go too deep, it throws the timing off. He went a little deeper than he should have, but Lango he kind of made a good play. Yeah. Bad decision on my part. So it is what it is.
Well, I appreciate that. That's the first time I've ever heard that story. He never told me all the times that he will never name the receiver. Hey, look, I can't blame Monty Duncan for it. I mean, it happens.
I mean, Monty ran too deep, but
Antonio,
I should have never thrown. So it is what it is.
Well, he made a great play on defense. And I will say that you could see clearly that he was hiding, and you have to play. I'm sure you didn't say it at the time, but you got to make that decision in a split second and throw it, and you're going to win that game. You're driving the ball. You're going to win that game. No doubt about it. It just happened. That's fate sometimes. You know, it was meant to be. You're right. Good thing you didn't win it. We wouldn't have a championship.
There'll be no championship games. Just think about all that money I've made the SEC and these other conferences.
Shane Collective, this ought to be an S right there.
That's right. All right, buddy. Let's talk about the LIV tour.
Okay.
I know a lot of people don't like us to talk golf, but we have to right now because some big boys are going over there. Phil Mickelson reportedly has been paid $200 million to join that tour. Dustin Johnson, $150 million. Yeah. What do you see happening here, buddy?
Well, here's why it's relevant, not just because of this. I don't care if you like golf or not. We're in the throes of perhaps some really cataclysmic decisions in sports. What if NIL destroys college football? I mean, it's a possibility. Do I think it will? No. But I mean, there's always, when you think about how fragile these things are, Shane, it's not guaranteed every day. You know, that things change, and the word change has really been big these days. And this is a tremendous change. At first, we didn't take it seriously. Now you start adding the bucks up, I'd look it up. What does this even stand for? LIV. I'm thinking, my wife used to ask me, what's LIV? I don't know. So I did, genius as I am, I Googled it. And the answer is the name LIV is a reference to the Roman numeral for 54, the score of every hole on a par 72 course, where if it were birdied, the number of holes to be played at LIV events. I didn't know that. We know so little about this. My wife says, well, how are they going to live over there all the time? They're not going to live. They're going to travel the globe. And the thing about this is not a brand new concept, Shane. I won't go into detail, but I was involved with a guy who was an owner and a guy who ran the International, who teamed up with Greg Norman to help try to start the World Golf Tour 25 years ago. They were talking about this, and the PGA Tour shot it down. Now they're going to have to pay. And I'm concerned now more than I was before because they got some traction. These guys have resigned from the PGA Tour. They didn't just say you're going to take a couple of weeks and play. They resigned. They're done. They're finished. Why? We can go into multiple reasons, money being one. But here again, this is a chain that's a little bit frightening.
Yeah, it is. Let me get back to that. We got a couple of texts here on the Titan Noir text line. It's from Anonymous. They say, I agree with you about that game in Alabama, but didn't Emmitt Smith have his breakout game as a freshman on the road at Alabama? He did. I don't know if they won that game. My point being was that's the most important game in Florida football history because we won the game and then we won a bunch of games afterwards. Yeah. Just winning a game and upsetting Alabama and then losing a bunch of games doesn't mean a damn thing.
I agree.
Another text on the Titan Noir text line. Mickelson says, as far as he's concerned, he is still playing the U.S. Open. Will the PGA allow these guys back? Now, the U.S. Open is not part of the PGA Tour, correct, buddy?
Correct. USGA runs that.
Right. So he and Louis Oosthuizen and Dustin Johnson, those guys, I would assume that the USGA will allow them to play in the US Open.
Well, how about the Masters? They're not part of the PGA Tour.
Well, that's true too. So
PGA.
Dan says that New York Times says Ricky Fowler's getting close to signing with them. Look, here's the deal. It's so similar to NIL to me. This whole basically they're taking the money and going to play on a different tour. It's no different than Buddy Martin taking the money and going to play for the Tennessee Volunteers, right?
Yeah, it is different because it's another world, other land, it's another culture, it's everything. Basically, someone is trying to buy the PGA Tour. It's like somebody tried to buy the Tennessee Volunteers, which maybe you can do this.
Well, I mean, Jimbo bought his recruiting class.
That's true, and that's why it's similar to NIL in that regard. But they didn't buy the Texas A&M. They didn't buy the SEC. They're trying to buy the whole damn league.
Now, let me ask you this, buddy. Do you think, because I think they're playing this week in England, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think, I don't know who's running this. I know it's Saudi Arabia or whatever.
Well, no, yeah, well, it's Saudi money, and they got to have a draft going. You heard about this draft they got going? The team names on them?
No.
I just read you real quick. I just read it this morning. Apparently, LIV has got his captains for the following teams chosen by Greg Norman on the team. The captain of the team names: Dustin Johnson, 4 aces; Graham McDowell, Niblix; Ian Poulter, Majestics; Kevin Na, Ironheads; Louis Oosthuizen, Stinger. They all got these names, and they get Sergio Garcia, Fireballs. So something to do with teams. I don't even know what that's about. Some strength. So there's a lot we don't know, Shane. A lot.
Yeah. Now, what I was going to ask you is, obviously, Greg Norman's involved, and he lives here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if he lives here anymore or not. Maybe he does. But
doesn't he have a big time course down in South Florida somewhere?
No, it's not his golf course. I don't think. I don't know.
Okay. Well, my question about that is, do you think, and this is just getting started, but do you think they're going to play some of these LIV events in the States?
Oh, yeah. There'll be at least one. Yeah, I would say 1 or 2. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the tournaments yet, but I know they're global. I'm sure they'll play in Australia because of Greg. You know, they're playing in London now, home of golf, right? They're going to play in the U.S. Who knows? I would think Japan. I don't know. I don't know much about this league because I really haven't taken it all that serious. I thought maybe it'd be one of those things that could lose a few players for 2 years and then come back. But now these guys have made a commitment for a career. They quit, resigned the tour. They're gone. They took the money and they're gone, Shane.
And Dan says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, Mickelson is also mad, along with other players, that the PGA Tour is keeping all the media assets and digital moments of the players. What does that mean?
Name, image, likeness, baby. They don't have it. You know,
I mean, with all the damn money these guys make off the golf course, I mean, you know, RBC is a huge sponsor of multiple players. Yeah. They just took their sponsorship off of Dustin Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
His bag.
Phil lost all his. Every one of his is gone.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting to me.
Well, Shane, here's the thing about it. You know, it's all about who owns what now, isn't it? And the money that what it buys. And here's PGA Tour players will tell you, hey, look, we travel 25 weeks a year. We pay for our own expenses. You know, we don't get bonuses. If we don't win, we don't get paid. So they'll give you that part too. And I understand that. That's part of the issue. So I'm thinking, again, it's a payday, and it's not just a payday. It's a lifetime. You don't ever have to work again, Shane. You're done. You're fit. Hang up, play golf. That's it. Never worry about anything.
So Dan says the players don't make money off the highlights or videos of them playing.
No, they don't.
Okay, well, neither do football players.
That's correct.
Okay, neither do the basketball players or the baseball players.
Neither did you get credit for that championship game that you created to help them keep it SEC.
Maybe I should start. Maybe I should start your own. And raise hell about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dan says like song royalties when Michael Jackson owned the Beatles songs, for example.
Yeah.
No, I understand that, but I don't understand why these guys think they should get paid for highlights of them swinging a golf club. Because Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady ain't getting paid when people watch highlights of them throw a football.
It's a whole other arena of expertise that we don't have in terms of who knows where was. That's like I said, this change is coming. It's changing a lot of things, Shane. A lot of things.
And we got a text there on the Titan MR text line that says fans appreciate the grind, and just showing up for 20 million isn't a grind. Yeah, so it's actually happening now, and so we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what the PGA Tour does. I mean, what if some of these? I mean, gosh, I don't know what to think of it. It's crazy. All right, buddy, who you got on your program tonight?
We've got tonight, I got to check my schedule. I'm so consumed with this blue tonight. I got a good week of guests this week. And let's see, I've got David Whitley on tomorrow night. So let me just look for a second. I want it real quick. By the way, you didn't comment about the Hall of Fame nominees at all.
Oh, that's right. I had it jotted down. Got sidetracked.
Your thoughts, because you know these guys. So
well, we know Tim's going to get in. Brad Culpepper and Rhett, both teammates of mine, have been on the ballot. I don't see either one of them getting in, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know how many years you can be on the ballot, buddy. You may know that.
I don't know that. That's a good question. I think then the old timers have to get you in, right? After that,
yeah, I don't know how any of that works, but it's still a tremendous honor for those guys to be up there. And I don't even know how you get selected, but obviously Tim will be one of those guys this year.
Yeah, for sure. All right. By the way, tonight we've got Zach Abaverdi making a return to the program first time, and a guy named John Caracciella. Here's why you should know him. Remember the Mordecai manual story about what was wrong with Mullen and what happened? Remember that story recently was written about why they had lost interest in playing for Mullen. And the guy who wrote this story is a guy I've just met from DeLand, who wrote this piece, who got a tremendous amount of play. Quoting, he interviewed Mordecai at an event, and he wrote this piece about some of the things that went on in practice. You read the story and how they just didn't pay attention, and they lost their focus, and why the players didn't want to play for Mullen. Now, it's not to trash Mullen, but it's to track the source of that story. I've talked to John. This is a legitimate story. It's not made up. It's not some hot take. So he'll be on the program tonight. And then our guy, Lauren Meadows, who reminds me, there's still track left. It's not all together left. Not all over yet. They still got a track meet this weekend. Got the athletes. So
we're still running track.
Yeah, some kind of I guess is the track people are running. So he says, don't forget track is this weekend. So
okay, so Gator Sports is not over for the year.
That's my understanding, and I was surprised.
I think you're right about that.
Lauren says
like track goes on year round.
He knows it. He follows it, and he's writing about it, so he would know. So we're having him on. Well, Lauren will explain tonight. So that's what's going on the Buddy Martin show.
So, Buddy, what we got now is track is winding down. I think actually after this weekend, I think they're done.
Right.
And it's nothing but football.
That's correct.
Football.
That's
we're
correct.
about 10 Saturdays away from Utah?
Yeah, I haven't counted them yet, but it's under 90 days, isn't it? Yeah, it's. I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it. Talking season's here, and now it's time to play ball.
No doubt about it, buddy. Good stuff as always. We appreciate it. We like you in blue. You got like that, those lights in the stadium now.
I think I'm going to go
touchdowns.
With it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with this now. Maybe orange change it up just a little bit.
Scott asked here, Shane, have you ever been nominated for the Hall of Fame? I'm not eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame, I don't think.
Why would you not eligible? Why would you not be eligible? All-American?
I want to say you had to be a first team All-American. I was second team every year because of Gino Torretta and some other guys.
Oh, God.
I think. I honestly don't know. But
you know what we're going to do? We're going to go with Shane. We're going to go with the collective. We're going to build money, raise money for a statue. We'll get all that.
We're gonna put together a committee for we're going to come up with a cool name. It's for my royalties from all the championship games.
I'm in.
The play that changed college football.
Yeah, and the man who changed it right here.
That's right. All right. Dan says track runs through July 24th.
Really? Well, but not really SEC track or no. I'll find out from Lauren tonight. Dan would know. By the way, shout out to Dan. He's just last night he was feeding us a score. That's a whole nightmare. I'm going to go call DirecTV right now and find out why I'm not getting ESPN News. I got it for years, and I've spent more time on television and technology in the last 3 weeks than I have in a lifetime. And it's not getting better, Shane. Change is coming. Don't forget. I want to do something drastic. I may unplug and just go, like they say, just go cut the cord, go do something drastic. I'm tired of it. I'll see you tomorrow. See you next week in blue.
All right, that's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Got to take a time out. Come back. Got a bunch of Facebook Live and questions here on the Titan More text line. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have Mike Morgan from the SEC Network and ESPN join us as well. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, Okido America, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate. With premium brands like Bass Pro Shops, Dave & Buster's, Regal Cinemas, Nike, Palmetto Moon, Medici's, and the HBC's restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 2:30, you can get the hottest brunch in town. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. I want to thank Buddy for joining us on the Titan More Hotline. We got a bunch of people talking about how you can DirecTV, Hulu. I forgot the Thursday night NFL game is going to be on Amazon. Lord, I got to figure out why they got to do all that. Just put it on regular TV. But I know it's all about money. So everything's going to streaming, I guess. Got a text here on the Titan MR text line from Barbara. Barbara says, Shane, I don't understand why you have not been selected for the College Football Hall of Fame. Well, we just talked about that, Barbara, if you missed it. And Dan let us know you have to be a unanimous All-American on half the publications or be first team, something like that. My senior year, Gino Toretto, who won the Heisman, was first team and everything. I actually had a better junior year than I did a senior year. So won't happen, but no big deal. Tim will go in, and I don't know if Brad and Eric Rhett will ever get in, but we'll see. It's just, like I said, it's a great honor for those guys to be up. Andy asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law. Shane, new golf rankings are out. Billy Hope Billy Horschel, now ranked number 11 in the world. Not bad for a volunteer Gator golf coach. Yeah, he doesn't work much of it at his game. He's a volunteer. But yeah, if you missed that, Billy Horschel is a volunteer golf coach for the Gator golf team, which is very, very cool. J.C. Deacon and Dudley Hart, who played on tour for a long time, are the official coaches, but Billy's a volunteer coach. And what a great performance by Billy this past weekend, winning the Memorial with his family, his 3 kids and his wife out there. That was awesome to see. And Billy's a sharp dude, first-class guy. I'm going to actually I've had him on the show multiple times, try to get him on. I mean, during the season, it's hard, but I want to get his thoughts on the LIV tour as well. John asks here or says, QB, the college magazines are hitting the stands. What do you look for when you look through a college football preview? You know what, John, this dead serious. I used to get those magazines and I'd look at the cheerleading section. And then I would go to looking at the because I used to have cheerleaders from all different around the country. I don't know, I don't buy the magazines anymore. I used to. I may go get Phil Steele's because he gives a lot of stats and his is really in depth. I'm very shocked. Maybe I shouldn't be shocked, but I want to say when we were talking to Brent the other day, Brent Beard of I don't know if it was Athlons or Lindy's that has the Gators 4th in the SEC East. That's hard to swallow, man. That's why these first 3 or 4 games are crucial for the Gators with Utah, then Kentucky. I think we got South Florida, and then go to Tennessee. Did we go to Tennessee early? I thought all our games were at home like the first 6 weeks. I don't have it in front of me. Text here on the Titan MR text line from Barry. He says, maybe the issue with the PGA guys not getting paid for highlights is because they're not employees of the PGA. Seems like maybe that NIL is written into an NFL contract. I don't know. I've never even thought about, not that I have a bunch of highlights from my playing days, but I've never even thought about getting paid for highlights. Now, the NFL, just like how in college football now, is you get a percentage of your jersey sales. Obviously, some guys make a hell of a lot doing that. Some guys, like myself, who probably had 3 people buy your jersey, you don't make a whole lot. I just have a hard time understanding why the PGA guys worry about getting paid for their highlights. I just don't understand that at all. Jake says here on the Titan MR text line, Brandon Sprout on the mound after the game last night was heartbreaking. What was your last game at the Swamp like? Well, we won all the games at the Swamp, Jake. I never lost at home. So I didn't have heartbreak there. The hardest game losing that I had was obviously, we talked about it, the SEC championship game in Alabama, the way it went down. That was one that you had nightmares for years. But we're going to work on our royalties for that game. But yeah, it's never great when your season ends and you'll never play in that uniform again. But never lost at home. So very lucky there. Let's see here. A couple of Facebook Lives before we go to break. John says the Big 12 is touting Oklahoma, Texas in the College World Series. Can Greg Sankey go ahead and claim that championship too? Well, I didn't think about that. You got an all SEC championship series starting Wednesday. Greg says, just get the big contract up front like Aaron Donald. Yeah, well, he just got a huge one. Andy asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, what are some of the things you do to prep for your Gator football analyst work? Wow, Andy, that's a great question. I really don't. I watch so much college football that I know most of the players from the opposing team. I obviously know our roster, probably not as well as I should. I will know it better this year. But I don't prep a whole lot just because from a color analyst standpoint, we're supposed to talk about what you just saw, how the play evolved, what happened, who blitzed, did the quarterback make a good read here? Was the route run correctly? So what I'm watching mostly the back end every play or the front 7 on run plays. And so as a play-by-play guy, Mick, for example, he has to have his chart with all the players. Obviously, he has a spotter that helps. But from a color analyst, it's more just reacting to what just happened. That's a very good question. Scott says, I've seen highlights from your comeback against the Browns in 2001 dozen of times online. Yeah, I need to get royalties from that. Maybe I'm going to raise hell like the PGA Tour guys. Scott, what do you think about that? All right, let's take a quick time out, come back, wrap up this Tuesday edition. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Ironwood Golf Course, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, a number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Wiebe, a realtor with Caldwell Banker MM Parish, will provide you with fast, friendly, and reliable service. Give her a call today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. I want to thank Buddy and Martin again for joining us on the Titan MR hotline. Let's get to this day in sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat, schedule your air conditioners tune up today, keeping you chill in the Florida heat far away. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This day in sports in 2010, the Major League Baseball draft. Southern Nevada outfielder Bryce Harper was the first pick by the Washington Nationals. And he's a pretty good player. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Don't forget, tomorrow our program will have JC. We'll do our Peachland Dentistry weekend golf picks. Next week is the U.S. Open. Maybe he and I need to start picking the LIV Tour, see who's in that field over there. But we'll also have Mike Morgan from ESPN and the SEC Network join us talking college sports. Greg asked, Shane, you should get money every time they show that interception. What does Spurrier say to you after that pick? I don't really remember what he said. I was so devastated. You know, here's another point. I threw a lot of interceptions, whether it was in high school, college, or the pros. That was the only one that was ever run back for a touchdown. Either I always made the tackle or a teammate did. And I thought I was going to make the tackle, but I slipped on the turf as Antonio cut back. But coach didn't have to say anything. I mean, as a quarterback, when you throw interceptions, you really don't need to hear it from your coach, even though he lets you have it. I don't remember anything of what he said after that. It was an awful, awful feeling. Hope you enjoyed today's program, folks. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.